lessons and they just work like a donkey. And I know plenty Indians in Sydney. I know plenty of them. All they do the same thing, because in India they got one bedroom, apartment. The 7 people live in there. When they come here, they have to have higher taste for money, not the higher taste of spirituality. And then whole community doing the same thing is a rat race. Whose house is bigger? Who's got an investment property? Who's got a shares? So that's what they keep doing there. Yeah, they go to the Gurdwara or temple, just give it a $20 have prashadam and run. Okay, I've got a meeting to go. So they were thinking, just $20 given to the temple, it'll be all done. And mainly they are running towards the money, and the society makes the society happy. So, it's like a society will come there one day to have a barbecue. Oh, you got a beautiful house, beautiful. And they have eat something and go back home. And you have to pay them house back for next 20 years. So, I don't know. They simple as the ass is.
Yeah, it's just an ass, not very conscious.
Modern ass.
Yeah, modern ass, yeah.
Still ass.
And we're constantly being thrashed, even when we're working, many times, we have very horrible kind of boss, many times. So if you're fortunate, you have a good boss, but a lot of people have like this, a boss that's beating them. Maybe not physically being beaten, but just bad behavior and, forcing us to do things that are not very good to do and like that. And you say, oh, boss, is it all right if I take a day off for Janmashtami? It's Krishna's birthday. And they say, no, you have to work. You have to work. You can't take the day off. So it's like that. So how much we're compromising, our spiritual life. We can't do it because we have these bad bosses and we're working so hard and everything. And it's such a tragedy. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in one of his songs, he says, Bifale sevanu kripana durajana. He says this in one of his songs, that for so long I have served wicked and miserly masters. For so long I have served wicked and miserly masters. Actually, the real master we should be serving is God. It's Krishna. He's our real master. But instead of serving Krishna, we serve every other Tom, Dick, and Harry. And they're not nice, usually. And they just want to exploit us, and abuse us. And there's so many cases of that, of the staff being abused and everything. And even if you're your own boss, you're not really your own boss because, there's still other people on top, and we're being exploited and everything. Even like, Gulshan, you had your own franchise. In one sense, you're your own boss, but still you've got other people higher up in the organization, right? And they're putting pressure on you like that. And you're working in the mall, and you're working in the mall, and the rules of the mall are.
But I was a good boss. All the 16 girls, they still contact me and saying thank you.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, you're a good boss. Yeah, so that's good.
Yes.
Because you're a devotee, that's why. But yeah, even then, you're still underneath crazy people. Like, you're underneath the mall because you're working in the mall. So you can't say, oh, I'm going to shut it down today because it's Janmashtami. They say, no, it has to be open 7 days. So, don't have that much freedom.
Yeah, so, now that the Bhakti tree, I've got a boss, but they say, oh, we have to Janmashtami shut down. They say, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, we'll just shut the Bhakti tree because it's
God Purnima. We're going to
that's right. We're putting to shut it in, so it's like that. So yeah, we just got to find a balance because you don't want to. You can't just completely drop all your material duties because then you can't maintain your body and then you won't be able to chant or do anything. On the other side, you don't want to just do everything only for the body, 24/7 just for the body and nothing for the soul because then it's just a complete waste of time. Yeah, it's a balance. So that's what we want to find, a balance. Yeah.
If you got a wife and 3 kids to feed, that you got to be work.
You got to work, and that's no
problem. Like it.
It said there's a saying, and Prabhupada quoted it, that even though the lion is the king of the jungle, it can't think I'm just going to open my mouth and the food's going to like that. No, it has to work, So you see, with the lion, to catch its meal, it has to work very hard. It has to run very fast after that deer or antelope or whatever. You know, it's a lot of hard work. So that's just the law of nature, that everyone has to do some kind of
And
work.
even Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, in this world or top or bottom, anything I want, it means I can get it. I'm still working, taking your chariot. Even I'm a god, I can do anything I want to, but I'm still working. You can see, carrying your chariot, going with that. So if it's God, it's a Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Yeah.
and we have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't have to, but he's showing by his example that we should work.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he's showing in that example that we should work. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, the thing is, the thing that for a devotee is to be happy, to be satisfied with just the basic necessities of life. That's the secret. That's the difference. See, a materialistic person wants more and more and more and more, very greedy, but a devotee is satisfied. Okay, I have enough food for today and I have a roof over my head, even if it's just a simple little dwelling or whatever. And, I have some nice friends, associates like that.
Not all Prabhuji. There's a devotee in Sydney. You will see that if you go to their wedding, their ladies is full of the gold and everything. They're not satisfied with the song, normal dhoti. They need everything, even if the devotee.
Well, I mean, generally women do require, some nice clothes and some jewelry and that. And Prabhupada says that's like normal for their psychology. But yeah, you just, I mean, and that's natural you dress up one day in your life, at least when you get married. You don't dress up like that every day. But yeah, generally, that we devotees should be happy to with whatever they can earn from, say, for example, and this was always the case, is working like 8 hours a day. Right?
That's it.
I remember when I was young in New Zealand, people only used to work 9 to 5, and they only used to work Monday to Friday. That was it, all over New Zealand. Everything would be closed on the weekend, and there would be no late night shopping or anything like that. And then I noticed, slowly it crept in, that half day Saturday is open, then full day Saturday was open, then Sunday became open, and then shopping and everything. It works, so people working. And then also it wasn't 9 to 5 anymore. It became 8 till 6, and then 7 till 7. And then they started the wonderful night shifts. You remember the wonderful night shifts?
Thursday night shopping?
Yeah. But then also, day shift, then night shift, day shift and night shift. And that's a real killer. That will even kill the ass, that if you do the night shift, it will kill the ass, so that's really being caned if you accept the night shift. That's so bad for the health. So, but that's the thing in spiritual life, you got to draw the line. Okay, I have to work to survive, but I'm only 9 to 5. That's it. No more. And only, Monday to Friday or whatever, no more. So you have to draw the line. I mean, even if you are going to work on the weekend or whatever, but then you have Monday, Tuesday off or whatever, like that. But it should be just some regular times and not say, oh, can you work some more? Okay. Can you work some more? Okay. Can you work some more? More? Okay. No, you have to say no more. That's it.
It depends. If you have got a BMW, you have to work one day extra to pay them off.
So be happy with your Toyota Corolla. Be happy.
That's why I haven't changed it. Even they're asking me, you can get the electric car, good for the environment, da 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 da. I said, no, I'm happy where I am. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And it's also, interestingly, we should talk about it's you, whatever is destined to come to you will come to you. Whether you work for 2 hours a day or 20 hours a day, whatever you're destined to get, that's what you'll get. And there's many examples of, like, for example, one person, he would work for 2 hours a day and he would earn millions of dollars. And he works 2 hours a day and he gets millions, And another person, he works 15 hours a day and he's lucky to get, a few $100s, to pay the bills. And So I'm saying whatever you're destined to get, that's why in Indian culture, originally they understood that. You just do your honest work, and whatever you get as a result of that, whether it's 2 million or $200, you're happy with that. Just do your honest work. I remember one guy, he was doing some voluntary work in the temple, and then he was thinking, oh, I should go outside and make some money. So he left the temple service and he went outside to make some money. And you know the first thing that happened to him?
He just slowed down in chanting.
No, he left the temple service to go outside and make some money. You know, the first thing that happened to him was he got a $300 speeding ticket. So that's what I'm saying. You know, you think I'm going to make a lot, but then you end up losing it, and then you're back to whatever it was anyway. So you might think, you know, well, I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm not spending a lot either. But you know, you make more. But say you make $1,000, but you are only destined to get 500. So then that nature will take away that 500 that you wasn't part of your allotment. You understand? And where is that karma coming from? You know, that guy that got $2 million in 2 hours work. That's from his past life because of some pious activities he did. Probably, chanting Hare Krishna in a temple somewhere, or worshipping with incense, worshipping God or whatever, feeding poor people or something. And because of that, now he gets $2 million in 2 hours. You see what I'm saying? It's not that you're going to lose by doing some, pious activities, spiritual activities and things like that, but you will lose if you just try to grab more and more and more and more. That's definitely not auspicious, not a good future like that. One lady came here today to give some treatment on Jayanti. She's got some really good abilities with healing and stuff like that. So she'd done some work on Jayanti before, and she said, actually, Jayanti, you don't really need a treatment today. I think your body's still working through the things I did on you last time. So, but she spent like, half an hour in that, like looking at Jayanti and stuff. So, and we gave her prasadam, and she said, oh, I'm happy because, I did a little bit of work, but you fed me, so we'll just call it square. And I said, no, I mean, you spent a lot of petrol coming here and that, so at least we'll give you $20. And she said, no, not necessary. And I said, yeah, we'll give you $20 at least, because if she did a treatment, it would have been $100 plus $20 petrol. So I said, at least we'll give you the $20. And I said, I want to give you this because I don't want to have to come back again in the next life to pay you what I owe you, $20. So I'll pay you now. Because that's what I'm saying. See, if you do that, if you take from people and don't give back, you have a debt, a karmic debt. You have a karmic debt. So then you have to, what you don't realize is that you have to take birth again to kind of pay it back.
That's for those who come in the temple, they just have a prasadam and go. And I said, listen, if you come here only prasadam and go, you got a debt of Krishna. You have to do some service. Otherwise, you got to pay them back. There is you cannot be clever with the Krishna. Some they coming, they just have prasadam and go. Hunter Valley, they come there, and then when the time hungry, they come to prasadam and go. And I said, listen, Krishna knows that you got to do some service, clean the poor or something like that. Otherwise, you become a creditor of Krishna, and you have to pay them back, no matter what.
Yeah. And so it's interesting, but yeah, we have to find a balance. Between the activities that we do for maintaining the body and the activities we do for our spiritual upliftment, spiritual enlightenment. Yeah. So we'll find a balance there. Okay, let's read another one. So you all know what the mudha is now, the ass. Working hard. So like Prabhupada finished off in that purport, he said in that paragraph, he does not know that karma action is meant for yajna, sacrifice. So we shouldn't just be working for our sense gratification, for our own enjoyment, but we should work and for the pleasure of God, for the pleasure of Krishna. That's what sacrifice is, yajna. So yajna means you do your work for the pleasure of God. Don't just do it for your own enjoyment, but for the pleasure of God. And of course, you do it for the pleasure of God, and God will give us also what we need to maintain ourselves. Like, for example, I'm doing my work as gardening, and what's the results of that work? The results of that work is fruits and vegetables, and we cook. Jayanti cooks that up, and we offer that, the result of my work, which is that the food, and the result of her cooking work is food. So we offer that food, the fruit and vegetables, we offer it to Krishna. So that my work and Jayanti's work is a sacrifice. You see what I mean? Our work is a sacrifice because the results of our work, which is those food products, that's being offered to Krishna. And then does that mean, oh, we've given all the food to Krishna, we're going to starve? No, because we give it to Krishna and then Krishna gives it back to us. You know, Krishna gives it back to us. So, but then people might ask, well, what's the point of that? You give it to Krishna and he gives it back to you. Well, why bother? Just take it yourself. No, because if you just take it yourself, there's no loving exchange. But if you give it to God and God gives it back to you, then there's an exchange. You know, I'm giving to God and God's giving to me. You know, so that's a loving exchange. And like people come here for lunch. I say that one of us, either Jayanti or me, will serve you all, and then we'll eat later. And they say, why? Why don't you just sit down with us? I say, because if I do that, then everyone's just going to take food for themselves. You know, and there's no exchange, no loving exchange. But if someone's serving you, then I'm giving you the food and you're receiving it. So there's give and take. And that's a loving exchange. So, and they say, wow, that's cool. I like that. That's a great idea. You know, because it's just selfish. You know, I like that. I want to eat that. I'll take that. I'll take it. But if someone's giving it to you and you're just humbly accepting that, then that's a loving exchange, and that makes it more special and everything. So this is the process. You know, that whatever results we get, whatever we earn or get from our work, you know, we give that to the Lord, and that's how we establish our loving relationship with him, and then he gives it back. Like, for example, say I build a house, but it's not my house. I see it as God's. I give the house to God. It's God's house. It's Krishna's house. So that's why in every devotee's house there will be one room as a temple room for Krishna, and we see that it's Krishna's house. So then we're making money, you know, to pay the rent or the mortgage or whatever like that, but it's different because we're spending that money for Krishna's house, not my house anymore. It's Krishna's house. But then you get to live in the house. You know, Krishna's in the house, so someone has to be there to serve Krishna. So you're living in the house. You're living in the house to serve Krishna. But instead of you working to pay the bills for your house, you're working to pay the bills for Krishna's house. So then it becomes a sacrifice. You see what I mean? But you also get to live in the house. It doesn't mean you're living out under a tree. No, you can also live in Krishna's house, just like you can also eat Krishna's food, you know, like that. So Krishna's sharing it with us. But then it becomes even better. You know, it becomes even better. When you eat the food after Krishna's eaten it, it's better than if it's not offered. It tastes even better. And everyone knows that. And also living in God's house, in Krishna's house, you know, is a very special feeling. I remember in Auckland, I used to sleep in the temple as a brahmachari. I used to sleep in the temple at the feet of Prabhupada's deity. I used to sleep at the feet of Prabhupada's deity. And boy, I would have an ecstatic sleep, you know, and you wake up feeling great, you know, and then I would dress Prabhupada. So I would lock the temple up at night and then sleep in the temple. And then, lock the temple at night. Then all the leftover prasadam, I would eat it. So all the puris and sabji and everything like that, the halava and everything. And then I'd go to bed, and then I would take a bath and dress Prabhupada before Mangalarti and light the fire, because in the winter, light the fire, wood fire, make the room warm for the devotees to come to Mangalarti. So ecstatic. So ecstatic, so ecstatic. It's completely different. And in one sense, you're living in a house, still the same as everyone else, but completely different. Completely different. If you see that you're living in Krishna's house, and you're serving Krishna and Krishna's devotees and everything like that, it's a completely different feeling, experience, completely different. It's amazing. But it's a difference between night and day. Externally, it might seem the same. Devotees eat food, karmis eat food. Devotees live in a house, karmis live in a house, but it's completely different. Completely different. Karmis, sing and dance, and devotees sing and dance, but completely different experience. Whether you sing in the disco and everything, in the club, and whether you sing in the temple, for Krishna, completely different experience, isn't it? Do you agree?
Yeah, very much.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, let's read one more paragraph. Gulshan, most often.
Yeah. Most often those who work very hard day and night to clear the burden of the self-created duties say that they have no time to hear of immorality of living being.
Immortality, that means the eternity.
Of
Yep.
living being.
Yep.
To
Yep.
such mudas, material gain, which are deductible, are life all in all, despite the fact that the mudas enjoy only a very small fraction of the fruit of labor. Sometimes they spend sleepless days and a night for fruitive gain, and although they may have a clear
Ulcers, stomach ulcers.
digestions, they are satisfied with practically no food. They are simply absorbed in working hard day and night for benefit of illusory masters. Ignorant of their real master, the foolish workers waste their valuable time serving Mammon. Unfortunately, Mammon. Unfortunately, they never surrender to the supreme master of all masters, nor do they take time to hear of him from a proper sources. The swine that eat the night soil do not care to accept sweet meat made of sugar and ghee. Surely, the foolish worker will unwittingly continue to hear of sense enjoyable tiding of flick earning mundane world, but will have very little time to hear about eternal living force that moves the material world.
So swine means pig, and night soil means stool. So the pig is attracted to eating stool, but it's not attracted to halava, made, as Prabhupada mentions, ghee and sugar, sweetmeats. Sweetmeats means like, milk sweets and halava and stuff. So yeah, it's attracted to eating stool, but not to eating, nice things that we eat, like, burfi and sandesh and halava and things like that. So yeah, that's what Prabhupada's comparing these hard-working materialists to, like pigs. They're just, lives are horrible lives. Like, we look at a pig and we think, oh, what a horrible life, just rolling around in the mud and eating stool. And pigs have another characteristic. They'll have sex with their sister pig and mother pig. They don't discriminate between wife pig and sister pig and mother pig and everything like that. So, just lots of eating anything. They don't discriminate. Like, I remember we just throw buckets of all this mixed up prasadam and everything, buckets, and some of it's a bit smelly and everything. and it would just gobble, 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 and it wouldn't know when to stop. You know, it would just eat everything. And as you know, I don't know if some of you remember the pig on the farm. It just got so big, so big,
Right.
so big. And you see that in modern day society, right? You know, people can't control their eating, and they just get fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. You know, there's even some cases where they have, the person actually gets to a point where they can't get out of their bed anymore, and they're just eating in the bed. And then there's even some cases where their body merges in with the bed springs. And this is not exaggerated, where their body fat actually merges into the bed springs. And then the fire brigade have to come out to cut the person free from their bed. There's actually been cases like that. And one place, they couldn't get the person out through the door. They were so big that they couldn't fit through the door. So and it was on a 2-story building or whatever. So they took the fire ladder up to the window, and they cut a hole in the side of the building and took them out through the ladder. And what is that because of? Uncontrolled tongue and uncontrolled belly. You know, so this is like they're like pigs, you know, even worse than pigs, you know. So this is what, you know, what happens to a soul that doesn't want to surrender to Krishna. Okay, you don't want to surrender to me, Krishna, you know, to Krishna, and then you end up surrendering to Maya, and Maya just thrashes us, just like the master of the pig, the ass, right? The master's like beating. You know, okay, you don't want to surrender to Krishna? Well, here, surrender to just eating Big Macs all the time and drinking Coca-Cola, and just keep eating and drinking, and in that way we're just being punished, you know, and you know, and sit in front of the TV and just sit in the bed and just smelly and rotten and sick and everything, and it's just punishment. You know, so that's the thing, you know, that either we surrender to Krishna or you surrender to Maya. And Maya is not a good master. Maya is a wicked master. She just thrashes us. Of course, Maya is a devotee of God. She's a demigod, Durga, Parvati. But her business is to punish those that don't want to surrender to Krishna. So it's a Prabhupada said that her task is a thankless task, isn't it? If you're in charge of a prison, does anyone show appreciation? Oh, you're doing a great job, mate. You know, running the prison, you know, everything you're doing so fantastic. Good on you, mate, for running the prison. No one glorifies the guy that runs the prison. It's a thankless job, you know. You don't get much appreciation, but someone has to do it, right? Someone has to put their hand up. Okay, I'll do it. I suppose someone needs to do it. I'll do it. You know, so you know, someone has to try to correct the criminals, you know, you know, so that's what the material world is for, the, you know, the rectification of the criminal minded souls that, you know, don't want to surrender to Krishna. And they're constantly being punished through these different ways. And it's said there's 3 kinds of miseries: adhyatmik klesha, adhidaivic klesha, adhibhautik klesha. So adhyatmik klesha means miseries coming from our own body and our own mind. And, you know, isn't it? There's so many physical problems, and then there's mental problems like that. And then there's miseries from other living entities, you know, like from a dog's barking or biting, or mosquito bites, or like the snake coming, or whatever that, or, you know, the government. This could be pretty horrible, you know, or some boss is dishing out some suffering to us. And then adhidaivic means from the nature around us, like we had recently a cyclone in New Zealand, and many people have died, you know, because of the cyclone. Many people lost their homes because of the cyclone, lost their cars because of the cyclone. Or like in Australia, you know, they have forest fires and you lose everything in the fire like that, or there's an earthquake, a tsunami, or whatever like that. Japan, you know, years ago they had a tsunami and that was mass destruction. You know, that tsunami in Japan took out a nuclear reactor, and they're still suffering in Japan due to what happened a decade ago. I think it was, must be nearly a decade ago. And they're still suffering from that nuclear radiation leaking out of that plant. You know, they can't shut it down, and it's such a headache. You know, so like that, we're constantly, Maya is like thrashing us. You know, then the idea is that we should realize that I don't want to serve Maya anymore. I want to serve God. I want to serve Krishna. And as soon as you change your direction, do you want to serve Krishna, then slowly you're going to get released. You're going to get released, you know, like that. Isn't it like if you're in prison and you do good behavior, if you do your good behavior in prison, and then you can get out earlier. you can get out earlier, you know, like that. So we want to, you know, do our good behavior in the prison, and then the superintendent will, I say, okay, Gulshan's been a good boy, Bob's been a good boy, and Bhakti Mala's been a good girl. Okay, we'll let them out. Like that. They're gonna they've said they're going to be obedient to the government from now on. They're going to become obedient to the government from now on, so we'll let them out. They're going to be good citizens. They're going to be good. They're promised to be. They've acted like good citizens in the prison, so we'll let them out on good behavior, like that. So, does anyone want to say anything about that?
No.
Any of those things that make sense?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
All good?
We
Yeah.
see you next week.
Yes, definitely. Okay, take care, everyone.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for everything. I really mean that.
Oh, good.